Alright, so for this question we have to find percentile, and so the most helpful thing to do straight away is to put them in numerical order. I suppose you don't have to, but I'm going to go ahead and do it because a lot of these problems it's more helpful to do it. So we start with our smallest number, 107, and so a good strategy here is as you go through them, strike them off, and I'm going to continue putting these in order, and I'll pause the video and do that and then come back once I've got them in order. So in fact I just decided to type the list to make it a little bit more legible. Alright, so now that they're in order, and one thing you can do just to make sure that you've gotten them all is you can go down here and you can count these, and there's better be 16, and I've counted them already, and count over here of course and count that there's 16 over here. That way you know that you got them all, as I did my strike throughs and all those as I went along. That's a helpful thing to do. So we're looking at the value 117. That's the value that interests us. Alright, so a percentile refers to, maybe if you've ever been familiar with maybe your own information, or maybe if you've taken a child to the doctor, they tell you the percentile of height and weight of your child, or maybe you remember from tests you might have taken in, standardized tests you might have taken in school, that you were 97th percentile on something, which means that you were better than 97% of the people if it was a 97th percentile. So we're trying to find out how high is 117, or how many values are lower than 117. Alright, that's really what a percentile is getting at. How many values, or what percentage is a better way of saying that's the actual percentile. But we're going to count how many are lower than 117, and then we'll divide it by how many there are. Alright, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There are 12 values less than 117, and there are 16 values. Alright, so we take that and then we multiply by 100 to make it a percent. And so 12 divided by 16 times 100 is 75%. So it's the 75th percentile. So if you look on page 115 of the textbook, there's a formula there for it. I'm going to pause the video and I'll go get that screenshot of that page so you can see the formula. So there's the formula from the book. Again, it's on page 115, how to find the percentile of a data value. Alright, so that's what this question was asking. Now they can turn the question around and they can say, what data value corresponds to the 75th percentile of this data set? Alright, so if they turn the question around that way, there's a different process, and in fact there's a really good flow chart in the textbook, and I'll show you that. So give me a second and I'll give you another picture of that so you can see what that's about. Alright, so again, the original problem that we did just now was, the original problem said find the percentile of a given data value. It's a little bit more complex when you do the reverse, when you find the data value for a given percentile. So again, you do like I did. It's why I always encourage you to sort the data first. That's our first thing we're always going to do, is try to sort the data. And after we sort the data here, then you do this formula L equals K over 100 times N. So let's say we were trying to find the 75th percentile of our data set we just did, and there were 16 values. If you do that math, you find that value L is 12. And so is L a whole number? Yes. What you do is you go to the next value, right? Because we were actually looking, the number 117 in our list was the 13th value. So that's why you go to the next value. And if it's not a whole number, if it works out to not be a whole number, you always go up to the next larger whole number. So if it had been 11.1, you round up to 12, and so then you go count up from the lowest to count up to the 13th value. So we would go, this step here tells us to go to the 13th value. Alright, and again, that's how you do it if it's asked the other way around, which may come up later and is a little bit more complex.